Jonesy and Amanda.
Jam Nation.
Gillespie, that's entertainment, is here. She's fresh back from Switzerland for Eurovision.
Yes.
Give us the goss. Did you see Gojo perform?
I did. It was incredible. The craziest, best thing I've ever done.
How did Gojo lose? Come on, let's have a listen in case you missed him.
Didn't say lose, didn't even get a foot in the door.
And got beaten by this Sheila.
That's a man.
So this man.
Austria.
But what happened to Gojo? Because I thought it was great.
So Gojo performed in the second semi-final. I was there in the room. He was fantastic. He was first cab off the rank, though, which can be a bit of a curse in these settings because by the time you get through, there were 16 performances in the semi-final. So by the time you get to number 16, people kind of forget who number one was. But I'm telling you, Switzerland absolutely loved Gojo. I was there for the whole thing as a guest of Booking.com. It was an absolute amazing. It was my footies finals. It was my Eras tour. It was Disneyland on crack. It was amazing. Right. And everyone I met over the course of a few days who found out I was Australian, they were like, "Justice for the milkshake man. We love Gojo. What happened? He was so great." Everyone was obsessed with him. So it was a huge crowd favourite. I think he just got let down in the vote because it's a viewer vote for the semi-finals. So it purely relies on people texting in. Right. And it's 5 a.m. for us here. I just don't think that there's enough kind of love in the audience at that time. Yeah. But then the grand final is decided by jury vote and text vote. Right. And that's how we ended up with Austria. But as I said in Switzerland, you can't spell Australia without Austria. So basically we kind of won.
Let's assume we won.
Yeah.
Investigating Ozempic. Everyone talks about Ozempic. I saw a story in the news. Ozempic sending people blind.
Yeah,
that's the latest
and the
thing.
Cost of Ozempic face.
Yeah, in a harsh pivot, I'm here to talk to you today about, I moonlight on the side as a semi-serious journalist when I'm not here talking to you guys. This is, of course, my number one priority and passion. But in my day job, I'm a journalist and I started investigating Ozempic. We've seen all these headlines for years, right? It's all over the news all the time. But we wanted to kind of look a little bit closer at what is the Australian relationship to Ozempic? How many people are actually taking these drugs? How popular is it? What are the side effects that maybe aren't being talked about? Because it's prescribed for weight loss, that's an off-label use, what doctors call off-label use. So it's not subsidised by the PBS. So unless you take it for diabetes type 2 treatment, you have to pay about $400 a month. So it's really expensive. But these are private prescriptions and that means there's no tracking. So there's no data that really tells us how many people take these meds. When I say Ozempic, I'm talking about other medications like Wegovy and Mounjaro. They're called GLP-1s, same thing, but we just call them all Ozempic. And what we discovered, we kind of did some polling of our audience. 25,000 people responded to a poll that the Daily Oz conducted. We found out 11% said that they had taken it, but nearly half said that they want to take it. So we know there's this really big appetite, pardon the pun, for these medications. And, you know, what does that actually mean for our health system, for social media, for the culture? We interviewed dozens of really incredible young people who were super honest and vulnerable with us and came forward with some horrifying side effects. So we kind of wanted to explore that a bit more. There are some really underreported mental health side effects associated with the use of Ozempic. Yeah. We spoke to an amazing young woman. Her name's Mackenzie. She's 26 years old. She started taking Ozempic for weight loss and then within weeks she was in hospital with suicidal ideation, horrific mental health side effects.
Because of the drug?
Because of the drug, because she was on antidepressants long term, but Ozempic stuffed up the way her body was absorbing those antidepressants. And doctors never flagged that with her. Right. Studies are kind of inconclusive, but there's a database from the Therapeutic Goods Administration here in Australia where doctors can log adverse side effects to medications, and 1 in 20 negative side effects from Ozempic is suicidal ideation. So it's this really underreported issue. So we wanted to explore more about the mental health side effects. We also explored more about prescribing practices. I don't know if you've heard of Juniper, but you might have seen it on the back of a bus or advertised during maths. It's a huge telehealth provider in Australia, and almost everyone we spoke to was prescribed a weight loss medication through that platform.
Right. So they're not seeing their family doctor is what you're saying.
Exactly. Right. So then there are the questions of, well, why? Why aren't people going to face-to-face GPs? And
no one's really admitting that they take Ozempic. There's a bunch of, how many people have we noticed, like large people that have suddenly look thin.
But not even large people. I think we know the health benefits to our society of the cost of obesity, but there's a lot of people taking it just to lose a couple of kilos.
Exactly. And I've interviewed a bunch of women who started taking it who, they were perfectly healthy. They might have lied about their BMI to get it. And how easy is it to lie to get it? Well, listen to the podcast to find out. But spoiler alert, if you are that determined, you probably can access it. And then the ramifications, eating disorders, so many young people who are taking it too far and there aren't the kind of safety nets in place. They're falling through the system. There's all these gaps and no one knows that all these people are taking it and possibly need help for other issues. And then, what's the social impact of when we see all these dramatic transformations around us, when it's the celebrities on the red carpets, but then when it's the people down the hall in our workplaces, when all those bodies are changing, what does that mean for us psychologically?
That's
Mrs.
right.
McGillicuddy up the shop, so suddenly looks like Jennifer
in terms
Hawkins.
of body acceptance, what does that mean?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well,
So interviewed a range of people with lived experience, with experts, doctors, science and nutrition experts, the whole gamut. It's a 3-part series. You can search The Daily Oz wherever you listen to your podcasts, at AUS for Oz, and it's called Investigating Ozempic. It's all over my social media at M_Gillespie if you want to find it there.
Absolutely. I think fascinating.
I like when you
Thanks,
put
Em.
on your journalist hat.
Thank you for having me.
Very elaborate. M. Gillespie. Check her out at The Daily Oz. Thank you for joining us, Em. We'll catch you next week.